Today I'm going to be talking with you about the return of Chinese rule to the Chinese after the death of Kublai Khan in 1294. If you're wondering if you have to write this down, yes you do. Anything that appears on the screen, take a moment to write it down. These are the notes that you are going to study for your test on China. A return to Chinese rule. The first Ming Emperor, Hong Wu. So go ahead and write down Roman numeral 1, first Ming Emperor, Hong Wu. The, the Mongols were overthrown by Hong Wu. There were some positives to the Mongols being overthrown by Hong Wu. Good things that Hong Wu did was he helped farmers by lowering taxes and giving them land. He also encouraged Confucianism and brought back state exams. In addition to doing these positive things to help the Chinese Empire, Hong Wu also did some things that the people didn't like. Some of them were absolutely horrible. He hired secret service. Tens of thousands of people were arrested in the Ming Empire, tried for treason, and then killed. What is treason, you may ask? Pause just a minute and talk with someone around you about what treason is. I hope you said that treason was committing a crime against the government or committing a crime against the king. Yongle was the second emperor in the Ming dynasty. Yes, go ahead and write down Roman numeral number 2. Yongle was the second emperor. Yongle built complexes of palaces and temples in Beijing. This area was called the Forbidden City. It actually occupies 178 acres with numerous buildings and more than 9,900 rooms. A wall more than 30 feet high was built around the city, surrounding the buildings and the courts. Why do you think it was called the Forbidden City? Most people know that the Forbidden City was forbidden to be entered by commoners. But think about this. Who were the servants in the Forbidden City? Who kept the Forbidden City running? Tens of thousands of servants, cooks, skilled and unskilled workers were there within the city walls, keeping it running every day. Roman numeral number 3. Yongle wanted tribute. What is tribute? Tribute is a payment made by one country to another as a sign of respect. To achieve this goal, Yongle built a great fleet of ships for exploration. Yongle employed Admiral Zheng He to lead voyages for China with as many as 300 ships and 28,000 men. China's trade and reputation grew because of his voyages. If you would, take a moment to stop, look on page 241. On page 241, there is a chart at the top of the page comparing Zheng He's voyages to Columbus's voyages. Look at the differences in the dates and the length of the ships and the amount of crew that the ships could hold. At one time, Zheng He's fleet included a total of 28,000 sailors on 300 different ships. By comparison, Columbus in 1492 had 90 sailors on 3 ships. Zheng He's armada included supply ships to carry horses and as many as 20 tankers to carry fresh water. Some of his crew included interpreters for Arabic and other languages, astrologers to forecast the weather, astronomers to study the stars, pharmacologists to collect medicinal plants, ship repair specialists, and doctors. Zheng He's fleet could have easily reached Africa and sailed around the tip of Africa and established direct trade with Europe. But the Chinese regarded Europe as a backward region and had very little interest in trade with Europe. They had no interest in wool, beads, and wine that Europe had to trade. China preferred the goods that Africa traded, such as ivory, medicines, spices, and exotic woods. Roman numeral 4. By the 1430s, Yongle and Zheng He died. China was no longer interested in trading with the rest of the world. China thought little could be gained by trading with the outside world. This was evidenced by their opinion of trade goods with Europe that I told you about previously. The Ming government ended all maritime, meaning sea, voyages and banned building of all sea-going ships. In fact, by 1500, the Chinese government had made it a capital offense, meaning punishable by death, to build a boat with more than 2 masts. And in 1525, the government ordered the destruction of all ocean-going ships. Just think, a century earlier, China had over 3,000 ships to its name. Roman numeral 5. The Qing, the last Chinese dynasty. After 300 years of rule, the Ming dynasty ended. This was due in part to weak rulers, high taxes, and poor harvest. Eventually, rebellion ensued. People from northeast of China, called the Manchus because they were from Manchuria, invaded and took over China. Like the Mongols, the Manchus used military power to conquer China. Like the Ming rulers, the Manchus allowed for some foreign trade, but they generally tried to restrict it and outside influence on China as much as possible. The Qing dynasty, China's last, endured until 1911.